Hi, I'm Chris. I'm part of the development team here at SigninApp. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to get started with Spaces. So what is Spaces? Spaces is the smart and flexible way to book desks and meeting rooms. You can get set up in just a few minutes, and that's going to be our goal here in this video. We're going to lay out a simple workplace and make our first booking. First of all, we're going to need to enable Spaces on each of our sites. So if we look at the online portal here, go to Manage in the top right-hand corner and then into Sites, you'll see we've got 3 sites. We're going to enable Spaces at the head office and the UK distribution centre. So if I click into the head office first and then go over onto the left where it says Features, you'll see here a new feature called Spaces. So if we toggle that on, scroll down and save, and we're actually going to do that for our second site as well, the UK distribution centre. If we go into there, then Features on the left, toggle Spaces on and click Save. So you'll see now at the top menu we can see a new Spaces tab. This takes us to our new Spaces section. On the left there's a site picker which will give us the 2 sites where we've enabled Spaces. This is a day view which will show us the bookings, but of course we don't have any just yet. And on the right hand side we've got a link to Manage Spaces, so that's what we're going to click on next. This takes us to our editor. So the screen is split in 3 here. On the left-hand side, we're going to have a navigation pane, which is going to show our zones and spaces. In the middle, we have a canvas that we can click and move around. We can zoom in and out of, and we can make larger by clicking on that icon. This is going to be where we lay out our zones and spaces. And on the right-hand side, we've got some editor options at the top here, which I'll cover off in a moment. We have the option to set a maximum capacity for the site, and we have some instructions here as well. So remember, you can always find a detailed user guide at signinapp.com/docs. We've updated it with information about Spaces. So if this video is no help, you can always check the docs. So what we're going to do next is we're going to lay out a sample office. It will have a few desks over a couple of floors. We're also going to add in a meeting room so you can see what that looks like. And we're going to add some more information about our Spaces, things like photos, tags, descriptions, things that will make it easier for our users to book Spaces from the app. So if we click Add New in the top right-hand corner, you'll see we've got 3 options. We can add a zone, we can add a space, or we can upload a floor plan. So I'm going to just talk about the first 2 options to begin with. We'll come back to floor plans later. But if you look at a zone, if we read the description, it says zones help you plan your office. It gives an example of floor 1, accounts department, or sales office. So you can see there, a zone really is a building or a floor or a department. So we're going to keep things really simple. We're going to have a ground floor and we're going to have a first floor. So if I start by selecting Add New Zone, the cursor changes and you can see I can draw directly onto the canvas by clicking and holding the mouse, and we'll create our first floor. So if I zoom out and move the canvas up a bit, I could now add another zone underneath, which will be slightly smaller, but this will be our ground floor. So you can see on the right hand side, with this selected, I can rename these. So if I call this ground floor, and we'll call the first one we created first floor. So you'll notice when these are selected, each zone can have a capacity. We'll come back to that later because we'll add our spaces in first and then we'll say how many people can book those. So we have 2 very simple zones there, one for each floor. If we wanted to get a little bit more complicated, we can add a zone within a zone. So if we go to Add Zone again, and this time within the first floor, we're going to create a zone, and we'll call that Sales Office. So what we're going to do now is add our first space. So this is the space that's going to be bookable. And in this first instance, we're going to create a desk. So if we go to Add New Space, again, we can draw directly into the canvas, and we're going to basically draw a rectangle to represent our space. We're going to call this Desk 1. Obviously, if you have allocated desking, you could name that after the person whose desk that is, or if you've got a more flexible desking arrangement, you could give it a generic term like Desk 1. So we can add a description to the desk. So for example, sales office, hot desk, if we're going to be having flexible desking. The capacity for that desk is 1. We can upload a photo. selecting it from our PC or laptop. And then on tags, this is an opportunity for you to provide some more information about the space that will help somebody who's searching for it later. So for example, for a meeting room, you might want to add a tag to say whether there is a presentation equipment, so a projector or a TV, perhaps if there's an Apple TV, things like a flip chart. And for a regular desk, you might want to say if there's a monitor there or a phone. So we'll use those as two examples. What we're going to do is we're going to add a tag for monitor and we're going to add a tag for phone. So somebody searching for this space later on will be able to use that criteria to narrow down their search. We also have the option on the right-hand side to disable the space completely. So if I check that box, you'll see a little symbol comes up in the top left, which basically disables that space, makes it not available to book. This is handy if you've got things like banks of 4 desks and you want to make it so people can only sit diagonally. You can obviously disable the desks that you don't want them using at the moment. By disabling them, obviously you've got them set up so that if you want to enable them later, it's nice and easy. You're not having to recreate anything. And then in the top right, you'll find some additional buttons that we can now use. We can center the view on the selection. If we click that, you'll see it zooms straight into that desk. It makes it really easy to find a space you've got selected. The other options we can see there are duplicate, which we'll use in a second, and delete. If you go to delete a space or a zone, you'll see a pop-up just confirming that that is absolutely what you want to do. So we're going to duplicate this desk by clicking on the duplicate button, and you'll see I have the option to drop it back onto the canvas. I've put it next to our existing desk, and it's automatically been named Desk 2. If I duplicate that again and put it down to the bottom, you'll see we've now got a Desk 3 and a Desk 4. So it makes it nice and quick and easy way of duplicating our spaces. Another thing you can do that makes it even quicker is you can select a space, you can click duplicate, and then if you hold the shift key while you're clicking, you can put in multiple copies. So I'm just going to hold the shift key now, and you'll see I can place space after space after space. Really does make it nice and quick to plan out your office. You can also duplicate entire zones. So for instance, where we created our sales office here, we can click duplicate and you'll see I'm now copying the whole zone. That will also copy over any spaces that are inside it. So if you do have similar buildings or similar floors, that could be a time saver. Or if you just wanted to speed up the process of creating zones, you've got the duplicate option there as well. Just like when we deleted a space, if we delete the zone, it's just going to tell us that it's going to delete the zone and in this instance, all the spaces inside it. So we'll go ahead and delete that one there. So if we move on to other types of spaces, we'll go add new space. This time we're going to draw a larger shape. On the right-hand side, we're going to go to category and we're going to change this to a meeting room. So we'll call this the sales meeting room. So we're going to say this sales meeting room has a maximum capacity of 6. We don't have a photo of this particular room, but we are going to add tags. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to put in Apple TV and projector as our display options. You'll see as I was typing there, previous tags show up, so you can obviously select those if they're relevant. In this instance, we'll pick phone. So obviously, as I'm making these changes, you might have noticed this little pop-up at the bottom here, which just shows that it's saving. There's no save buttons. As you're making the changes, they're being updated in real time. Again, just another way of making it nice and quick. You also don't have to worry about losing any changes because it's always updating and saving. Lastly, we're going to add one more space. We'll put this on the ground floor, and this is going to be more of a casual breakout area that people can book if they need it. So in the category option, we're going to pick breakout area, and we'll just call it soft seating. The soft seating area we'll say has a capacity of 4. And there aren't any specific tags here because at the moment we've just used these for things like presentation equipment. So it's a very simple layout, but within just a couple of minutes we've got a representation of an office with different types of spaces, multiple zones, and if you look on the left-hand side, you'll see our navigation view has kind of been built up as we've been making these changes. So you'll see that we have our first floor and our ground floor. Each of these you can click to collapse them. If we look at our first floor, we have 4 desks contained in the sales office, and we have 4 desks outside on the first floor on their own. We also have a sales meeting room, and if we pop open our ground floor, a soft seating area. And at any point, you can click that button to zoom into the particular space, or if you don't have anything selected, if you click that button, you'll see the full view. So I mentioned there's a few different areas where you can set capacities. We don't have anything selected at the moment, and on the right-hand side, you'll see that we can set a maximum capacity for the site. So if we look in this very simple example, we have 8 desks. For example, let's just say that the site opens at 50% occupancy. We can set this to 4. That's going to mean we can only have 4 concurrent bookings at any one time. You'll have seen we already set a maximum capacity over here on the sales meeting room. I mentioned earlier as well, spaces can have capacities as well as zones. So you'll see here each of these spaces, whether it's a soft seating area, breakout, or a sales meeting room, they each have capacities, and each desk has a maximum capacity of 1. You can also click a zone and set a capacity for that zone. So in this instance, where we have a bank of 4 desks, if we're operating at 50% capacity, we may want to change that so the maximum capacity is 2. And this will just mean that we don't get more than 2 bookings in this zone at any one time. So what we've done here is we've created a really simple office layout using the editor. We've also built up our spaces that will now be searchable. We've added tags, we've added an image to one of the desks, and we've added a description. So you can see quite quickly how the office can come together. Now, if you already have a floor plan, so for example, if you've got a larger office or you have had office plans done, it may be better to upload your floor plan. So we also have that option. So to upload our floor plan, we're going to go to Add New in the top right-hand corner again. This time we're going to select Upload a Floor Plan. We're going to draw our zone, and you'll see here we're prompted to now upload our floor plan. So on the right-hand side, where it says Floor Plan, we'll be able to select a file, and there our floor plan gets dropped directly onto the editor. Once you've added your floor plan, it's going to work exactly the same way as a regular zone. The only difference being this time, when you add a space, you'll notice it drops down as a pin rather than drawing the rectangle we were before. Other than that, everything is exactly the same. So we can call this desk 1, we can duplicate it, we can hold Shift, now copy that across multiple desks. So this is a really quick way now of creating these bookable spaces. All the same options apply, so we can add categories, we can add tags, we can upload a photo, and we can even add a space for our conference room. We could add a space for our meeting room, and we can add a space for our breakout area. And obviously you can spend as much time or as little time as you like adding in all this additional information. But the most important thing is we now have some bookable spaces which will show in the app. And the last thing I'm going to show you with floor plans is you can still nest zones inside your floor plan. So if we wanted to create here a section for our accounts department, we can create a zone over the floor plan. We can call it accounts, and we can give that a maximum capacity. So if we want to operate at 50% capacity, we can say only 6 people can be booked into this zone at any one time. Drop in our spaces, and we'll obviously copy those across to the remaining desks. So what I've just done is finished our layout. So you can see here we have lots of bookable desks, we have a zone within our floor plan, and we also have a few breakout areas. And this is now where we're going to create a booking from the app, searching these spaces to find our desk. So the best way to search and book spaces is with Companion app. Before I switch over to that, we just need to make sure our staff member has the right permissions. So if we go to edit Danny Buxton here through the online portal, go to Companion app on the left-hand side, you'll see there's a new app permission called Can Book Spaces. So if we toggle that on, Click Save. The option will now show for Danny in the companion app. If you want to give all your staff members access to Spaces in one go, we can click Edit All in the top right-hand corner, scroll down, and where it says Can Book Spaces, toggle it so that it's green and the option says Allow. If we click Save, it'll now show for them. So if we open Companion app, you'll see there's a new section called Today's Bookings. So I can either tap the Start a New Booking button, or I can press the plus in the top right-hand corner and go to Book a Space. If I do that, I can see the sites which have spaces enabled. We'll tap into Head Office. We can select how many people this booking is for. So if it's for a desk, that'll most likely be just for one person. But if you're booking a meeting room or a breakout space, you can select the number of people there. On the date required, at the moment we're searching for a whole day. We'll select for tomorrow, and then we'll tap Search Availability. So this is going to show us, in the first instance, all the desks which are available tomorrow. Now this is taking into account a few different things. It's taking into account other bookings. So obviously if there was an overlap, if a desk wasn't available, it wouldn't show. It's also looking at the total capacity of each of the zones, the spaces and the sites. So it's only ever going to let you book a space if it doesn't exceed the maximum capacity. So from this screen on the top left, I've got a drop down which lets me change the space type I'm looking at, the category. So we could look at meeting rooms, or we could change that and go back to desks. In the top right hand corner, we've got filter, which shows us our tags that we were setting up earlier in the editor. So tags are really handy, very simple, very easy to use, and they help the user find the right space for them. So if we tap on the desk, we can see a confirmation with the image and the time, which in this instance is all day. And we're going to say book now. So that's it. It just takes a couple of taps and you've booked the space. What we'll then see is the ability to quickly rebook that space for other days of the week. So if we know we're coming into the office on Wednesday and Friday, we can just tap book again and it will book the space for the same times on those days. If we want to extend the range we're looking at there, you can tap show more and it will show a complete week. You can also start a new booking from here, or you can say finished and it will take you to the calendar view. So in the calendar view, we can see the booking, we can tap into it to see the information, and we have the option to delete it if required. You can also see from the calendar view, we have the same space booked on Wednesday and Friday. So let's say we want to book a meeting room on the same day as we have our desk on Friday. We can tap the plus icon from the calendar view. We can go to book a space, select the site. It's going to be for 5 people. And we're going to select the time. So if I select from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and we'll search. You'll see the only result that's come back is the boardroom, which has a capacity of 10. That'll be because we selected 5 people. So if we tap into the boardroom, we haven't uploaded an image yet, so we get a placeholder, and we'll say book now. And again, just like before, it gives us the option to rebook the same space on subsequent days at the same time, or we can just say finished. Now, if you have a look in the calendar view, you can see we have a desk booking for the whole day, and we also have the boardroom booked between 10 and 2. So that's booking spaces in Companion app. It's really simple, really straightforward. Everybody who's got the app has access to it once you've granted the permission. And it's a really easy way of keeping on top of your bookings. So for the last part of the video, we're just going to head back over to the online portal. We'll click on our spaces section at the top. And now that we've set up some spaces and we've got our first couple of bookings, this view I can show you a little bit more about. So at the top here where we see the date, if we now select Friday, which is the day we have a couple of bookings for, you'll see our categories fill here to show that we have 1 of 2 meeting rooms booked and 1 of 24 desks booked. So it's a quick snapshot to show you how many people will be coming in on any one given day. From here, you can click into each zone. So we have our floor plan zone at the top level. We also have our accounts department here. It will show you the spaces which have bookings, in this case desk 1 and the boardroom, and any spaces that don't have any bookings here. If you click into the space, you can see the individual bookings. And one last thing you can do from the portal is you can book spaces from here on the right-hand side. If you say book a space, very similar to the process we just went through, you can select a date. So again, we'll select Friday. We'll pick it from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. For one person, you can select which desk it is. This instance, we'll use desk 4. And you can say who the booking is for. We would recommend you do all the bookings through the Companion app, but this is a handy way for people who either don't have Companion app, use the portal regularly, or someone who's booking on behalf of somebody else. And there we go. That's an overview of Spaces. In a nutshell, we've quickly created our layout, first through using the editor, drawing some simple shapes to represent our spaces. We then changed that to use the floor plan option instead and drop some pins down. I also showed you how to book a space with Companion app, giving them user permissions and then going through and using the tags as filters, selecting the times. And we've also talked a little bit about maximum capacity and the things that Spaces is doing behind the scenes to make sure you never have too many people booked in. Lastly, we went back to the portal and we looked in Spaces again, this time to get a snapshot summary of how many spaces were booked on a given day, and then the ability to drill in and see those bookings individually. So I really hope this has helped. Obviously, the customer experience team at SignInApp is here to help. If you've ever had any dealings with them, you'll know that we're really responsive. The team are more than happy to jump on a chat or jump on a call and talk you through it. But I hope you enjoy using Spaces. I hope you find it useful. We're always listening to feedback, so if you want to get in touch, we can also email us at support@signinapp.com. So thanks for your time.